You know what? We could hop up here all day, but what we could do instead is start what's going to be a kick-ass weekend. We can start it right now. And we can start it by bringing on one of our personal favorites, not just because he's awesome, but because he's talented, giving, kind, and sexy as hell. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome, Rachel Minor! Classy is the word, I think. Well, listen, everything I say about you is true. You're truly an anchor of the weekends. And may I point out that I just noticed this right now, because Rachel and I have not seen each other today. From a fashion standpoint, nobody's going to come out here wearing a shirt that matches their wheels. That is, the purple and black with the purple and black. I mean, kudos to you, young lady. Kudos. Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Minor.
I'm the luckiest. We've agreed on that, right? Hello, all! How are you? This is amazing, amazing group. I can't see your faces, but I can see a lot of people. And I know that I know you and love you because we are family. Good to see you. I love you and I love being here, and it's such a happy place to come. I had one of those nights and mornings that were things like electricity wasn't working and flights were delayed and whatever, and I was like, I don't care because I'm coming to my family and I'm happy. Life, you will not get me down. I think we should all keep that spirit. So anyway, do people want to start asking questions, or do we have questions, or do you want me to just talk at you a lot? 'Cause I can do that. Not really seeing. Okay. Rather than be offered. So are any of you participating in Gish? I'm really, really freaking excited for this year. I feel like it's going to be an excellent one. The Change Your Life is always my favorite, and so that's the only thing I know anything about, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be amazing. So, and everything's going really well at Random X. Again, do we have no questions? I'm like, who am I talking to? This is really odd, and I'm echoing. Come talk to me, ask me things. What am I working on now? I'm working on a few things. Mostly Random X is my life and my heart and my soul. And so that's what I do every day. And I get to work with the best people around. But then also, I'm working on a few projects. I want there to be more better representation in film and television. So I'm fighting for that right now. I think it's about time, yeah? Awesome. Yay!
Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. I was like, I can't really see, and I don't think there's anyone, so I'm either ignoring people or...
No, absolutely. Okay, so I asked you in Vegas about Carson's wedding, if you could attend, and you gave them wishes, and I just wanted to pass on to you that they got married, everything went well.
Oh,
wow. And she broke down in tears when she got your wishes for her best wishes for the wedding and everything. You're her favorite, and she wished that she could be here, but she wanted to pass that along to you.
That
So,
means a lot. I love that.
yeah,
That's
so,
awesome.
God bless you and thank you so much.
I wish them so much
Oh,
happiness.
thank you.
See, this is the best thing, and I hope that no one is sad and feeling like because season 15 is going to be the last season that we're going to lose this, because we won't. Because that's for us to keep creating, and we can do this as long as we want and always and forever, and I think we should.
Hi. So I was just wondering how you guys found Laos to help out during Gish, because that's just mind-blowingly incredible.
That was, I think, a Giles dually find. He is one of my favorite humans, and I trust him implicitly, and he helps to point us toward areas and things where our help could be really useful, and we have a really, I think all of us have a similar need not only to make the world better, but to find those people who maybe fell through cracks in systems and aren't getting looked after and maybe, or being overlooked. And he's really good at that. I'm just excited to be any part of helping to highlight those things, tell those stories, and make a difference. And thank you all, because you're the ones doing the work. So let's do this. That's exciting. Thank you for asking that question.
Hello, darling.
Hello.
I'm certain I know the answer to this, but I'd kick myself if I didn't ask.
Please.
I've got one spot left on Team Tiny Cast for Gish.
So I'm not allowed to play Gish, fully play, because of my association with RandomX. In case anyone thinks that, like, because I know Misha and stuff, I have an insider advantage. So what we do is we put together a RandomX team every year, and I pay for us to all be able to join, but we actually can't win. So I am a no fun, not available player. But we still have lots of, that way we can still play and support and have a good time in it.
That's beautiful and tragic, but at least I have.
But thank you, I am honored, and good luck. By the way, am I echoing strangely to all of you? Yeah. Okay, cool. I want to make sure I sounded kind of like the weird voice of God.
Hi, Rachel.
Hey.
First of all, I wanted to thank you for just being so strong and positive despite what you have to fight through every day. I have a friend named Ryan who struggles with fibromyalgia, and just knowing that you're such a strong, capable person is so motivating for her. So thank you.
That means so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
I wish her lots of love, but also I want to make very clear something. It's hard work. It is really hard work to try to find the good, to keep fighting for it, to keep up that that energy, to keep finding the positives and all that. It's worth it. It is so worth it. But I don't want anyone to mistakenly think that somehow I was born with a better attitude or something like that. No. We get to choose, and we get to fight for who we want to be and what life we want to live. And I also don't want anyone out there to think your life is hard and for some reason you were dealt that. We're all, I don't know anyone who isn't struggling to some degree and isn't going through stuff. And we all have a heck of a lot, and it's really, and I think we need to be able to talk honestly about that with each other too, even as we're fighting to find the good. So I just wanted to make that point. I love you all very much.
Hi, my name is Hannah. This is my first convention.
Hey, welcome!
Thank you. I just wanted to know what your favorite memory was from working on the show.
Okay, so this is a hard one because I don't have one that stands out because of the sheer number. Because to me, my favorite part of my memory of the whole show was the daily little things, was the fact that when you're around really good people, who really care and try to make all the small moments better, that's what, like as a whole, that's what stands out. So that's what I felt in with this cast and this crew. I can tell you one moment that kind of to me represents all the other moments as well, is that when I was doing the pizza man scene with Cash, I got to kiss Misha. No. So when I was doing that scene, I was actually already struggling physically. But I hadn't told anyone why, but they knew I was having trouble, like maybe with my back or whatever. And I was supposed to, originally, when I turn around, I was supposed to do that spin. And I was having, like, it was hard. And I wasn't making a big deal, but you could, I guess, Misha clocked that it was hard for me to do. And so he just lifted me and moved me around, which looks awesome. But was also just a good friend, really looking out for me and trying to make my life better. And I feel like that kind of sums up all the moments in that it was just good people looking out for each other.
So we all know you have such a beautiful part in this fandom, like from your tweets and your inspiration, and I wonder how it felt to have a positive, like such a beautiful influence on this family.
Thank you so much for saying that, but it's the influence is the other way. You have all brought that out of me, and you've given me so much that I love to be able to give back, and it's also a gift. I think for me, the most important thing in life, period, is to feel connected and to feel purposeful. Like to feel like there's a reason that I am here, and I can maybe leave something good behind in the world. And you all make me feel that way on a daily basis, and have continued to make me feel that way. And I honestly don't know that I'd be alive if it wasn't for that. Like I can't undervalue how much that means. And so I feel like that is very much as much coming from you as it is coming from me, and I think we're just connecting with each other. And you make me feel more positive, and so I want to put more love out because you're giving me that love too. So, thank you.
Hello.
It's true.
So I recently watched your movie Bully.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Not that it's an important story, but yes, it's a rough one. There's a lot of me.
I was expecting a little much from that director. Yeah, I saw kids when I was a
Yeah.
kid. So, but I was wondering if you or any of the rest of the cast got to meet the actual real live characters that you played to help kind of direct you on how to play them.
We did not, and we chose not to. I talked to some people who are like friends of theirs, and we talked to the police officers and things like that. But I know I was not representing Lisa Connolly in the way she would have told her story. I think I was trying to approximate at least a human truth, and I think it was maybe the truth of her, but sometimes what we want to believe we are is different from what we are, and it was such a dark decision to take someone else's life that I don't think, and as far as I know, she would not take responsibility for it. So no, I chose not, like I didn't want to speak to someone, because I think I would have felt guilty too if I was empathizing and connecting with a human and saying like, no, but I'm going to tell your story totally differently than you want. So that's. Thank you for asking me.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi. You mentioned the final season, and I was wondering how would you like to see things end for Sam and Dean Winchester?
I think there are certain fundamentals that are bound to be there. I think it's a show about the resilience and strength and love that exists in the human spirit, and I think that's got to be an element in there. There's no way it wouldn't be. But I am very excited to see what they create. To me, it's like opening a present, a present before your birthday or before Christmas or whatever. I don't want to know. I want them to give it to me. I want to be surprised. I want to enjoy that moment and relish in it. And so I'm just looking forward to seeing what they bring. Does that make sense? Do you have something?
No, I haven't. I don't want it to end, actually. I don't ever want it to end, so that's a difficult question for me. But thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
Hi, Rachel. My question is, if Meg had gotten to say goodbye to Castiel, how do you think that would have played out?
That's a really good question. Well, we know Meg, and she would not have been, like, mushy about it. She would not have been maudlin. I think she would have hidden, like, all the major things she was feeling and not known how to name them. I think there was a simplicity often to how she communicated with him and a comfortability, and I think it would have literally just been kind of like a nod. See ya. But a very full one. Does that, like, that's kind of what I see, but there are so many beautiful options. But I don't think either of those characters understood why they felt things they felt or why they cared in any way about each other. They just did. What do you think?
I agree. I don't think she wouldn't be mushy about it, but maybe they would have revisited the Pizza Man scene.
I think that might have been a good idea.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kara. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
My question is, if you could write a supernatural episode and there was like no limitations about what it could be about or anything, what would you write about?
Oh my gosh, I could not tell you. My imagination would go so many places. I'm going to narrow it down for myself because otherwise, like, we could be here a long time and I could be talking about all the options of all the fantasy worlds and, like, I don't know, like somehow they're in some elven kingdom which also has, like, Hogwarts in it, and I don't know. Like, there are so many things happening. My imagination will just, like, spiral out. No, but in truth, so one of the things people have asked me before is, like, what would I write if I was writing an episode with Meg and Cass? And I definitely would love to see them, like, trying to be human together, like trying to be normal. So I think it'd be really fun for them to have, like, a road trip where they were like, but, like, you know, trying to do, like, the normal human experience of, like, camping or something like that. Because I just think they'd be hilariously bad and all of that. And they would fight nonstop, but, like, in a really funny way. And they'd both be, like, amazed at how bad the other person was at it. So, like, to me, that would be really a fun scenario to watch. But, yes, thank you. Do you have one? Do you have an ideal?
I would probably want to see, like, all of them do, like, regular things, like going to, like, the laundromat, getting groceries and that. We never really see that.
Yeah.
And it was only, like, one scene, like, in one episode, and I think it was, like, season 2 or something, and they were at the laundromat. Like, that was probably, like, the only time. So
Yeah.
it'd be cool to see them do, like, regular, everyday things.
So I think we're on the same page with
Yeah.
that. Because honestly, none of them would be very good at it. Like, it'd just be really interesting. Like, what happens if you have to be normal? And also, like, normal humaning is a lot harder than it's made out to be. Because I know I struggle. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Rachel.
Hey.
Coming into the last season, and I know, the fandom would like to see the writers maybe try to include some past characters that we haven't seen that we've loved, and Meg I know is a character that I would like to see back if they could possibly do it. And if there was a way for them to accommodate you if they needed to in writing her back in, even if it was just for one episode, would you be willing to come and do that?
Yeah, I'd pay them. Yeah, I'd be 1,000% more than willing. I love everyone on the show. I love the character. I also don't, I never want to say I wouldn't hold it against them if they didn't find a way to do that. But I think it would be absolutely awesome on so many levels. I love Meg so much. I also think it is so important that we start seeing a diversity of experience, especially physically and stuff, and the ways that you can still exist and be with that. I think there's a very narrow view that we get of that. And I feel like Meg was one of those characters too. It'd be really awesome to see her, because I don't think she would be a victim in any way ever. So I think that would lend itself. But again, that's just me and my imagination. Doesn't have to exist. But thank you for asking it. I'm really excited. Is everyone excited for next season? Because I'm really freaking excited. I can't wait to see what they bring.
Hi. So I don't know if they've asked this question before, but what kind of advice would you give Meg if you ever met her?
No, that's a really good question. I give her the advice, I guess, to be more honest, and it's okay, whatever she's feeling. Because I don't think I don't think she could process that. I think she's really good at certain things. I think she's got a great perspective. I think she's very smart. I think she's very strong. But maybe that strength stops her from ever being willing to be vulnerable or honest or connect to others. And I think that's something that would probably be missing from her life. Does that?
Thank you.
These are great questions.
Hi. So at the end of Meg's reign on Supernatural, we kind of saw her kind of become more human and be a little more I wouldn't say soft, but less edgy. So if Meg were to meet Jack and spend time with him, do you think she would relate to more of the spawn of Lucifer side or the human side?
That's an amazing question. I would love to see those two together, because I feel like maybe she could uncut. Does anyone else's heart break for Jack?
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to watch, and I just want to help. So I would love if Meg could do that. I don't know. I think where Meg landed, I think she would actually connect more to his softer side, so to speak. Because also, if you look at it, whatever denial she was in, she cared so much about Cass. So she would want that better part of Jack's existence and relationship and all. And I also think that she, in her many, many, many years on Earth, obviously she came to a point where she maybe saw the flaws in some of the thinking she had in the past, so maybe she could help guide him out of that. But I'm very curious. It'd be really interesting. And again, I don't know how much she would admit. I think if you made her ask, she would say she liked the Lucifer part of him, but then actually guide him toward the better part. Does that make sense? Thank you. And again, anyone's free to counter me on this. I'm just riffing and having ideas and stuff.
Hi, Rachel. Hey. I'm a giant bookworm, so I'm always looking for new reading recommendations.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you had any suggestions.
It's so funny because I was asked this at my meet and greet, and I have so much trouble with this question. Here's why. I am such a bookworm. I love so many books of so many genres, and like whatever. Like, give me a little. Give me some way to narrow it down.
Well, my professor says I need to be reading fiction this summer, so I like fantasy.
What? Not fantasy?
No, I like fantasy.
Oh, you like fantasy. So have you read Myths of Babylon?
Yes.
Okay, have you read, good. I'm thinking you might have read most of the book. Have you read all the Ursula Le Guin books? There's some really good, both fantasy and sci-fi. She was a really amazing writer, so I recommend looking her up. And historically, also from the direction that both fantasy and sci-fi took, she had a huge influence on it, so it's interesting. I'm trying to think. Fiction too, like, so, I've done some deep dives. I don't know what kind of things you like, but like I read there's something called the Great Courses, which is, I love, and you can get the cheap versions. Wait till they're on sale, but I've done like all the great books of various genres or throughout history or from various countries. So like all the Eastern novels and then all the Western, influenced novels and so forth. There's some really good lists in there at the very least to, again, I don't want to impose on you, but then you can find some area that sparks for you, and that's really fun. I don't know, that's what I recommend. I like historically also seeing how fiction, like to me, one of the interesting things with fiction is seeing how it rippled out and changed our society and the influences it had. So, again, you're asking a real bookworm, so it's hard for you to give a short answer. Thank you for that, though. And good luck, and I hope you find many, a wonderful, amazing book.
Hi Rachel, it's my first con.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Is it good so far?
Yes, it's wonderful.
Awesome.
Okay, so I was wondering how you think that Meg would interact with Jack, and how you think that she would change interacting with Cass after she realizes that he kind of adopted Jack. What do you think that she would do and say?
So again, I'm open. I don't know that my instant ideas are correct or not, and I don't want to mess with anyone else's imaginations on these things. But I feel like Meg's feelings for Cass, like she genuinely just wanted him to be happy and stuff. So I think she would kind of feel that either like maternal or paternal, I don't know, like neither of them were particularly male or female, I don't know. But parental kind of instincts toward Jack as well because of the way that Cass felt. I think she would adopt that because when you care about another person, you want the things they care about to survive and flourish. Plus, I think she would have naturally the same kind of affinity that Cass did. So, that's my opinion. Do you have anything to add?
No, I'd be really curious to see how she changes with Cass, because I feel like she would still kind of have that banter going on, but I would love to see her like take it and like make fun of him a little bit for being like the dad. I would love to see that.
Oh, she would definitely do that. I don't think Meg would ever miss an opportunity to like poke at Cass and have fun. So yeah, no, I think on the outside too, she would just think the whole thing was ridiculous, absurd, and have lots of funny things to say about it. So, especially the fact that Jack looks so much like Cass.
Hi Rachel, my question is like totally different from everybody else's, but
that's a good thing. Stand out. I like difference.
Why unicorns?
Why unicorn?
Did you choose it because like Meg equated Castiel to her unicorn?
I think it's a creation between us all. So because I had that one line, go save your brother and my unicorn.
That's like one of my favorite ones.
Mine too. And I think like a lot of us fell in love with that. There was that association. And then I think, so people started doing things like gifting me unicorns, or like there was that conversation we would have about, so many of us had that favorite line. And then when I first started using the scooter, I didn't like the fact that it made some people sad. Like, no matter how honest I was and open I was, there was always some people who'd be like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like, and it would make their heart leap up for a second. And I hated that feeling. I was like, no, it's fine. I think, so it occurred to me one night of just like, I saw this. I was like, that'd be easy to do. And I knew, and it really changed the dynamic, where now people like see me in the scooter and they laugh or whatever, because obviously someone who's wearing a unicorn on their scooter is not like sad about it. They're doing okay, and they can have fun. So I think that heightened it. And then, I don't know, it's a call and response. I feel like over time we all have gotten like really into this unicorn thing. I love fantasy creatures and fantasy in general. I was probably more of a fairy person when I was a kid. So like, I love fairies. I love the unicorns like in legend when I was little, but I was never particularly like a huge unicorn person, more than any other fantasy animal. But yeah, that's us. It's all of us. Is that a good answer?
Thank you.
Awesome.
What are the top 3 things on your bucket list right now?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. I feel really full because of getting to work with Random Acts and getting to come spend this time with you and all that. Like I feel like that ticks most of the things that would have been on my bucket list, because for me, connection and like feeling like I'm putting something positive out in the world and feeling like that might ripple out and make the world better, that's definitely there. Another thing for me is like, I'm very passionate about buying, sorry, but like I'm really passionate about buying from ethical companies. I think one of the worst and most dangerous things about our world is we're funding so many companies that are doing so much harm to the environment, to humanity, like all that. And yet, I also think most of us are in a condition where financially, we can't afford to buy from better companies, and like just time-wise, we're overloaded. We can't even afford to do the research to find someone that's not doing bad. So I would love to be a part of changing that dynamic more. And I have various like ideas on that. Other than that, I just want to spend time around and with people I love who love me. I'd maybe have a dream of starting, the old literary salons and things where you would just like get together and talk about philosophy and like all these great minds would spark things. I would love to do more of that kind of thing. I'd like to maybe publish a book. It's kind of on there. But I don't think, what about you? What's on your bucket list?
Actually, having something published is on there. I travel for the conventions, but I'd like to actually travel to see more things, but I don't know that I have a third right now. That's awesome.
I say let's all live our bucket lists. Right now. That's what I try to do. I think the thing that ends up on my bucket list constantly that I then constantly try to catch up with is just things I wish I'd said to various people and things like that. Like, oh, I wish I'd actually just said that. And so I try to be good at constantly catching up with making sure I've really been honest with people or told them I love them or things like that. Because that, I don't want to leave the world without having said those things.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. So we all know Meg was a Lucifer loyalist.
Yes.
How would she have reacted to the fact when he took Jack's grace and finally betrayed the Winchesters and Castiel for the final time after he was doing or pretending to do so good for so long? And who would Meg have sided with?
It's a really good question. I mean, I think it's absolutely debatable, and I would not fault someone who argued that she would have stuck with Lucifer because there's a lot of evidence to that. But I also feel like where she got to a place where Cass was her number one. And as she said, like, I feel like she's staunchly loyal. And as she said, you pick a cause and you stick with it, you get behind it. So I think that she would have actually chosen Cass and the Winchesters over Lucifer. And protected them against that if she could. But that's, again, as I say, like, I'm fine with if you believe otherwise, but that's where I personally think she landed. What about you?
I think she probably would have chosen Cass as her number one, finally seeing that betrayal of Lucifer would not have changed for her to be with Cass. So that's where I would have saw her.
But it would have been that would have been a hard choice. It would have been epic.
Thank you.
I love these questions.
How do you think Meg would have responded to the British men of letters?
I think she would have laughed at them a freaking lot. They just seem like like the opposite of Meg in so many ways. And I think they would have given her a lot of fuel for a lot of jokes. But yeah, no, I don't think she would have done, like, anything about them would have flown with her. Including the whole Britishness thing. Like, I don't think Meg would have bought in. And I think she would have tried to challenge them any chance she got. What do you think?
I thought she would have just been really good with him. She's like, nope, not today.
Yeah. But the whole bureaucracy thing, like, that's very not Meg. So, yeah. Anyway. It would be funny.
Hi. My question is kind of along the lines of, so I love how the show explores the grayness of things.
Me too.
And how something might seem black and white, like at first Meg is really, like, obviously bad or evil, whatever. And then, you know, as I feel like there's more of a journey with your representation of Meg. Do you think where she was at when her time ended, do you think that she would have wanted...
I love that you got all respectful about that.
Oh. Well, I love Crowley, but I'm like, why did you kill me? Do you think she would have wanted to be cured?
Like, cured of her demonness?
Yeah, like, you know, like the boys almost cured Crowley. I mean, because it's like...
Again, a really interesting question. Because I think what she wanted versus what she would say she wanted, what she was willing to commit to, were two different things. I think that would have been really hard for her to get to the point of being where maybe her heart was, if she has heart, I don't know. But yeah, to what you were saying earlier, it's funny, I was saying that earlier today. Absolutely my favorite thing about the show is the fact that everyone lives in the gray. That the good people are fighting to be good and making mistakes, and we're flawed and whatever, and the bad people are hurt and mistaken and sometimes do good as well. And I think that it's so important that we recognize that in each other.
Yeah, I was gonna say, along that, like, you know, when the show first started out, it seemed very black and white, like what was right and what was wrong. And then as we've gotten farther along, which I think as I've gotten older, I realize things are not black and white. I'm staunchly very much a lot of gray, and I love that the show really explores that in a lot of different ways through different characters and different themes.
Same, and that's why I say, like, I don't think any of it's an easy choice. So I don't think I don't think it's black and white of like, oh yeah, maybe, totally. Like she would want to cure herself of her dimness because I think she had pulls in every which direction, and I think she spent so much time, literally lifetimes worth, certain that this was the way she felt, and this was her existence, and this was her version of right. And so to let that go would not be easy. To let go all of her judgments and her thoughts and her beliefs about reality, that would be a big deal. But I also think she really, like, where she'd gotten, like, heart-wise or whatever, was to this place of wanting to do good. So it would be a difficult question, I think, for her. Does that make sense? Because she lives in the gray.
Oh yeah, totally. I think like Cass's influence on her really is what like instigated her change.
Same.
Because she had to care about somebody else besides herself.
Right. But again, it's like, how do you name that when you've grown up in a world, in a society or whatever, like literally her demonness, like she was surrounded forever with a vocabulary of existence that didn't allow for that. So how do you even process it? And I think that is true of so many of us in life. We're having to learn how to process things that are outside our realm of what we believed in, like our black and white existence of childhood or whatever was truth. So it's a constant learning experience and expansion. So, not to get all philosophical, but I feel like that was a very philosophical question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Macy. This is my first convention.
Welcome. Are you having a good time?
Yes, I'm having a really good time. And my question was, if Kelly had survived Jack's birth, what do you think her opinion on his decisions would be?
If Kelly had survived Jack's birth, what would her opinion be?
On the decisions that he made.
I have no idea. I'm like, that's someone else's territory. She seemed like a very, very loving, maternal, like someone with a very strong maternal instinct. So I would guess she would have been kind of, I think she would have been heartbroken at the turns that Jack took, and I think she would have wanted to hold him and fix it in the same way we all talked about, we all felt. What do you think?
I agree, mostly. Like, I think she would still be there for him and try to help him, even though she doesn't most likely agree with all the decisions that he made. So that's mostly my opinion.
Yeah. So let's all do that for each other. Just keep like loving each other until we help right things. It was so great. Thank you all so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know her, you love her. You just spent an hour right there. Rachel Miner.